Officer in danger! Officer in danger!
10-5, please repeat. 10-5, all units, emergency. Officer in danger, Acer Plaza, repeat. Acer Plaza, all units.
They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point. I released my finger from the trigger, and then it was over.
I finally played Max Payne after 23 years of it being released. Well, I played it before when I was a kid, but I never really played from start to finish, and I didn't really know English that well, or at all, so it was just a shooting game for me. So it still was a new experience. When the game came out, most of the games were not this story driven, and especially with this good of a voice acting, which was done by James McCaffrey, which unfortunately passed away last year. Max Payne 1 wasn't available in my region anymore, for some reason. So I had to buy a CD key, and I paid more for the first game than second and third game together. But I got to say that it was worth it. At first, there were a couple of errors with the game, and it was cause of its old age. JPEG error, compatibility with widescreen, compatibility with modern hardware altogether. There are fixes which you can find on the internet. I fixed it, plus I kept the FPS to 60 because if you don't do it, it doesn't let Max use his slow motion jump and makes you fall where you stand. But again in slow motion. Story begins with Max entering his house and seeing his wife and daughter dead. He kills the invaders and mourns his family. It sparks the anger in him with a bit of depression. And in bit I mean that he becomes very angry and very depressed. It's a detective / noir / thriller / action setting, which feels very satisfying. And the more story progresses, the more you get into it. It might be shameful to admit, but I finished the whole game in one sitting. Story again is amazing. And when James McCaffrey's voice acting is added on top of it, games becomes even better. And if it didn't have 2001's graphics, you might have thought that you were watching a movie, especially back in the day. Max Payne has different take on storytelling. It doesn't have many cutscenes, maybe because it was made in 2001 and technology at the time wasn't enough to make cool cutscenes. But they are not needed because Remedy used comic book style for the storytelling, and it works as well as butter on the bread with a cup of tea. I was anticipating these comics after every level, more than a New Year's at 23:59 with a champagne in my hand. I even looked for all the clues to activate them. They even made these cool TV shows for the game, which you find throughout the different levels, and I really took my time with watching them.
My lady.
My lord?
My lady, there is a matter of great importance I must bring to your attention.
My lord, there is?
Indeed, my lady, there is indeed. From the very first moment we met, upon that distant forest path, there has been sunlight in the autumn leaves blazing like the colors of your hair.
Listening to Max speak is like reading a philosophy book. He talks with Sam Lake's grin and James McCaffrey's deep voice, with charisma and serious tone with philosophical metaphors which make you think and makes Max more badass than he already was. Story has a couple of parts which shapes the story, and every chapter complicates things more and more. At first, Max finds out that Italian mafia is responsible for killing his family, and he finds clues to get revenge. The more chapters you play, more complicated it becomes. Max finds out about the drug called V, which this mafia is producing and selling. Also, some of them use it and become numb. I don't want to spoil much, but I will tell you that the more Max goes in the case, the more he realizes that this case has more and more to it, and Mafia isn't the only one who is involved in it. Gameplay is very simple, yet satisfying. You play with weapons, but Max also has abilities to slow down time. You can use it in two ways, by just slowing the time and shooting people in slow motion, or you do a slow motion dive. which looks cool, and it is cool. Most guns are not accurate, especially shotguns, and you need a lot of bullets to kill enemies. I still don't understand the purpose of shotguns. They're slow, very slow, and need 2 hits to kill an enemy. And if you're against a couple of enemies at the same time, you are definitely dying. Most useful weapons are pistols. Both. There are deagles and 9mm Berettas. And deagles you can only use one, but Berettas you can dual wield them, and they're cool. And also Ingrams, which are basically Uzis, and you can use one or you can dual wield them as well. And in the later game, Commando, which is an AR, basically M4. You will use other weapons if you will be out of ammo, but it rarely happens. But it still does from time to time. Abilities are cool, and you will use them even if you won't need them, because again they look cool, but it doesn't mean that they are not useful. Dive helps you to enter rooms, and slow motion to avoid bullets. To heal, you will rely on painkillers, which will be spread throughout the levels. One of them will heal around 1/3 or 1/4 of your health. I suggest you to use them wisely, because in some levels you will need more than in others. Remember that you can only carry max of 8 painkillers, so it is limited. Also, if you even took a little bit of damage and you have 8 painkillers and you don't want to waste them, and you find more painkillers, use them and take more. Just a friendly suggestion. Max Payne has one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in video games. Main theme, which is played regularly, is amazing. It usually plays during comic cutscenes, and adds even more intensity to it. Max Payne is an amazing game which everyone should play even today, after 23 years of its release. Remedy is remaking first Max Payne games, and some people might prefer to wait and then experience them. But I still think that you should play the original ones first. And maybe when the remakes come, you can play them again with a fresh perspective, because I think that they might get rid of comic book style cutscenes. If they don't, it will be amazing. But since James McCaffrey passed away, I don't know who will voice Max Payne, and I don't think it will be same anymore, even though I'm sure that Remedy will make an amazing remake and amazing games. By the way, they're planning to remake both as a single game, not separate. The first and second only, because third one was not made by Remedy. Finishing Max Payne felt like I finished something I needed to finish a long time ago, but something still withered in my heart.
Woden grinned smugly. It was the grin of a winner. That made 2 of us.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, I would appreciate it if you shared it with your friends. Thank you. Goodbye.